Welcome to the All Things Real Estate Podcast with our very own Josh Barker. With more than 20 years of experience and over 5,000 properties sold, Josh brings a unique perspective to the real estate market. Let's get started.
Good morning, Josh.
Well, good morning, Joey.
It's October 2025.
That's right.
Man, it goes fast. I say that every month, but I feel like we were just here a week ago.
Yeah, it feels like it.
And the rains have come, and so that's nice. It's nice reprieve. The temperature's gone down a little bit. But with the real estate market, I was looking at your market update numbers that you did, and September was actually, to me, it was a good month.
Yeah. Year over year, it was very similar to last year. I think we finished just a little over 200 closings for the month, for last month. And, if you look back to a year ago, it's about the same, and a very, very normal market. And this is Reading. Over the years, I was shocked, like 2015, 16, 17, 18, 19. It was very consistent in terms of sales year over year. We're kind of getting back to that. Got clients that have asked me, when do you think the sales volume will pick up? And I would just simply say, when rates come down, more people can participate. And when more people participate, you see more, closings. So right now, I think this is what the sales volume is based on an interest rate of around 6.5%.
Well, you said last month, the feds were going to lower the rate, but you didn't think it would have an impact on the mortgage because the mortgage market had already reacted to the news.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah, and so they're kind of hinting that they'll probably drop rates again. Do you think the same thing? Like it really won't bring interest? The feds are going to lower the rate, but will that lower mortgages?
Well, I think same as what happened last time. I think as we start to get more data coming out, like jobs report, economic growth, GDP, all those things start kicking in, what the inflationary numbers look like, we'll start having those kind of coming in over the next 30 days. And as that's taking place, the stock market will start to react to that as they anticipate what they think the Federal Reserve will do. So if those numbers come back showing us inflation's low, GDP is not rising, and that we're neutral or sliding backwards in terms of economic growth, then it's likely that you're going to see the mortgage rate starting to drop again, ahead of what the Federal Reserve might do.
Now, even though they're in the kind of low to mid sixes, you can still buy points, right? Because I saw something and it's like 5.8%, but you'd have to buy points.
Yeah.
You're committing to the long haul at that. That's right.
Points are super expensive, I'm not claiming to be an industry expert when it comes to mortgages or anything, but I can tell you, for me personally, I wouldn't buy points down right now because it's highly likely that over the next 24 months I'll be refinancing anyway. And points are extremely expensive. So, the corresponding effect of buying down the rate by a full percentage point is a fortune, and likely not worth it. So I would just, get the best rate you can with as few points as possible, and then anticipating that down the road rates come down, you can refinance if you want.
And the market, you talked about the absorption rate is in the mid to high fives, which is a neutral market.
Yeah.
Which, it's kind of funny when you're in a white hot market for so long, you get so used to everything just being like, it's like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
That when it just kind of evens out and plateaus, everyone's like, oh no, the sky's falling. It's like, no, this is kind of a neutral market.
It's a normal market. We got an absorption rate right now of around 5%, just over 5%. And I don't think it's going to grow too much more. We might see it 6 month supply, but it's not right now at a number that's really concerning. I've seen markets where we had 10, 12, 14 months supply, and it was tough. The market was sliding backwards rapidly, and the consumer and the sellers were both really concerned.
We always talk about how comparing the local market to the national market or the state market. You and I talked to a couple of realtors, and I've heard them say we've got a 13-month supply. So I would say a 5.5 month supply is a very healthy thing. And especially compared to the nation. Well,
and it's a double-edged sword with no new construction, right? We're not a lot to speak of. So, I think we're at 140, 150 permits pulled for the year, based on some of the latest statistical data that I've been reading. And that's pretty exciting. That's largely D.R. Horton finishing up their projects, and it's what Palomar Builders has been doing. And with a few other builders here locally that equally deserve mention. But they're, those two that I mentioned are the predominant ones. But we don't have a gluttony. Like if you look down in Roseville, for example, Roseville, I think a few months ago, I was reading a report, it was like 300 new construction permits pulled in a single month.
Yeah.
that's rapid growth in one small community, or not small, but one community. We're Reading, we just don't have that. So we don't have an increase in inventory that's going to really have a pressure on pricing, et cetera. And our absorption rate is reflecting that.
So what do you think if you, I know, look into your crystal ball?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Josh.
Let me grab that for you.
Yeah. Tell me what you think of housing prices maybe over the next, what you want to say, like 6 months are going to do in Reading?
Yeah, well, historically, going into October, November, December, January, it tends to be our softer months. I would tell most sellers that you're probably going to see anywhere between a 2 to 3% moderation in pricing as demand actually falls faster than the supply. Mm-hmm. Now, a really big asterisk I'd put on that right now is it has a lot, though, this year probably to do with what mortgage rates might do. Because I would say that 2 to 3% relinquishing of value over the next 3 or 4 months because of the season, that could easily not be the case if mortgage rates go down quickly. Mm-hmm. That would be the case if mortgage rates.
Like 0.5%, you think? I mean,
yeah, it would probably be fairly significant. I mean, we'd have to probably get close to 6% on a mortgage rate to not have there be some sort of a softening in pricing in the fourth quarter and a little bit of Q1. But then again, like I said, by February, March, as the market starts to kick off again, you start to see sales volumes increasing. Buyer participation starts to go up. Obviously, there's more product available, and so you start to see prices firming up, and then in most cases moving up going in there. So the fall this year could be a good time for buyers.
Yeah, so 3%, I mean, you think about it, on a $400,000 house, what does that get you down to, like $388?
Yeah, $12,000 swing. And we talk to our sellers about it. I mean, I'm willing to speak about it on a podcast. When I talk to sellers about timing in the market, it's one of those things where you have to understand that there are times in the year when housing prices are stronger and more prolific and appreciating than other times of the year. It's just common sense. A lot of realtors don't like to talk about it, but I don't know why they wouldn't, because it's just reality.
Well, it's funny. We were on a call with some other realtors, you and me, and I can't remember if you said it or somebody else did, but I like what they said. They said something effective like, I'm just reporting to you the market. Like when they go on a listing appointment and, people get emotional. They're selling their home.
Sure they are.
It's a big deal, especially if they raise their family there. I mean, there's emotions. And so your job is to come in and say, hey, look, I'm going to report to you what the market's doing. I'm going to show you the homes that have sold, the homes that are pending, the homes that are listed around you that are comparable. Yeah. And some people, the marketplace determines price. But I imagine you get some gnashing of teeth when you try to explain to somebody their house isn't worth 1.3x, what the market says it's worth.
Sure. And there are some conversations that I find myself in where it's a bigger bridge to cross, in terms of where they thought they were at and where the market's at. But, I think as a professional, it's our job to take the complicated and make it simple, and be able to present a fact pattern that really does make sense. So that they can come to a conclusion that would work for them. You're right, we don't own the information, but we are responsible for sharing it. I would say anything short of sharing the truth is malpractice. I mean, if you went to a doctor, right, and the doctor sees things on your labs that aren't good and chooses not to tell you because they didn't want to hurt your feelings, I think that's malpractice. And I would say in real estate, we have the same level of responsibility. They're adults, they're capable, give them the right information, give them some options, make a recommendation, and then support their decision.
Be honest and transparent.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, So are you seeing, because I don't really know, the market is softening a little bit, a tiny little bit. You got to be so careful. Something goes down by 1%, and it's like, guys, it's 1%.
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to fluctuate. Right. The weather can get good, and it goes back up 1%. The weather gets bad, it goes down. There's so many little variables. Like you said, we're going into the season in Reading that it's raining. Right. People don't want to open their home up as much. You don't want to do as many showings. We have some friends in Florida. It's flip-flop.
Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah, they're going into season now.
Yeah, all the people from the north are coming down. Yep. And so they're exact opposite. So that's a little thing like timing the market. Sure. I think that's why, spring is the big listing time in Reading, right?
Correct. Yep.
When the sucker grass is high, right? Like when everything's
trees are blooming, the grass is amazing. Yeah. Exactly.
But are you seeing escrows falling out at what are you seeing as far as actual pendings being able to close? Yeah, actually,
I'm glad you brought that up. That is an issue right now. In the market, we've seen as high as 35% in some months of the number of fallout relative to the number of homes that are sold. And I've went through and really dissected this. Our internal office fallout rate is close to 20%. Which is good. The national average is about 25%. I was
going to say about 20%.
Yeah, and our failure rate's about 20%. And the market, though, right now is about 35%. And when I go through and I really start analyzing, okay, what's causing this? There's a couple of different things. One, I would say, is that we have to put more effort up front with the buyers to help them understand the cost of insurance, because that's a sticker shock for many, right? And causes things to fall out. The other thing is making sure that the quality of the lender that's participating with the buyer, that they are actually verifying all of the information necessary to make a good decision on whether or not they can get a loan, which is an easy one. The other challenge we run into is the condition of property. So as you get into lower price points, the condition of the property in many cases is deferred, or not meeting a standard that the buyers are expecting. And so there's this negotiation that's taking place, and they can't come to an agreement between the condition of the property and what the buyer is requesting, and so that the transaction fails. We've had a few now where appraisal is becoming an issue, because as we're plateauing in pricing, now it's kind of a swing of valuations and different opinions from appraisers. When things are going down, it's easy to appraise. When things are going up, it's hard. And right now we're in that moderation phase. But one of the ones that I'm most concerned about is that a lot of agents in the marketplace now are utilizing what they would call a transaction manager or transaction coordinator, oftentimes unlicensed, oftentimes doing things that require a license.
I didn't know you could do that. I thought you had to be licensed.
You should be licensed.
Okay.
And now they're putting out their certified transaction coordinator, and it's just not good, right? And so what's happening is these agents that are new in the business, without a lot of supervision, are then using a transaction coordinator to run a transaction, handle the negotiations on request for repairs and things like that. And so now you have a low-skilled person combined with a low-qualified person trying to negotiate an outcome, and that's causing failures too. So again, not with our office, because everything's done internally in our company. But I have recognized that, and I'm pushing back, doing what I can as a broker in our community, saying this is not right. Agents should be participating more with their transactions. Transaction coordinators are great for facilitating paperwork and things like that, but agents need to be doing the work that they should be doing, and supervising their transaction coordinator much closer. So those are the things that are kind of contributing, I think, overall to a higher fallout rate. I was talking to a friend of mine, he's from Colorado, a 45-year coach, 45 years coaching in real estate. And when I shared with him that number, he's like, my goodness, that might be the highest I've heard of. What do you think it is? And I told him everything I just told you. And he said, well, you're going to have to get out there and be a voice, because obviously that's something that needs to change. I mean, if the consumers in our market lose faith and the quality of the services they're going to get from brokers, we're losing our incentive to sell homes.
How's the consumer? I mean, it seems like they find out at when they're in the middle of it. How do they, you know what I mean? They're in the middle of an escrow and things start to fall apart.
Yeah. Well, I think it's extremely important, Joey, extremely important that you not just, when you interview an agent, you need to see what their track record is. Ask them, how many homes do you sell? And I'm not passing judgment on a new agent, but if a new agent is not working with a brokerage where there's a broker, a sales manager, a trainer, somebody that's literally on site to oversee what they're doing, there's a higher propensity for a fallout. Because you got, people that have been in the industry a long time and can anticipate problems before they occur, and in some cases avoid them altogether, or start putting measures in place to resolve them before they become bigger issues. And that does come with experience. And I think most people watching or listening to this would certainly agree with that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the 10,000 hours thing, somebody that's done something for 10,000 hours is an expert in it. Yep. And I mean, it takes 10,000 hours is a long time. Yeah.
And to a point, I'll drop some names here now. I'm happy to, but I've had people call our office, newer agents, and we're not set up for that, because most of our agents they're experienced, they sell full time. We can't really bring in a new agent and have the systems and the training for a new agent. Mm-hmm. So when they call me, I literally direct them over to another office in town that does have that type of training for brand new agents. And I think that's a responsibility of us as salespeople. If we know we don't have that tool or that resource for the brand new agent, mm-hmm. we should be directing them to a company that does have those resources so that they can learn what they need to know, have that supervision, have that management, have that oversight, have that coaching and that training so that they can be productive.
Yeah, that's really hard for the consumer to know whether or not, and I guess it's just, you've got to vet multiple agents and you've got to do a little bit of homework. It's a huge financial thing you're doing.
It's a huge transaction.
Yeah. Well, so escrows are falling out at about 35%. It's a little bit higher than normal.
Well, again, reported that's what I've seen over the last few months. It's been that high.
Yeah. So are there any other factors? The big one I thought you were going to say was insurance. I had like
That was one of the first ones.
Yeah, anecdotal. I was talking to my wife's uncle about a week ago, and a couple of years ago, they had a cabin in Shingletown, and the family owned it collectively, and half the family wanted to sell it, half wanted to keep it, and it went back and forth. They ended up selling it, and the uncle was the one that kind of was like, "No, we shouldn't sell it. It's been in the family so long." And the other day I was talking to him, he's like, "Oh my goodness, I'm so glad we sold that." He's like, we wouldn't be able to get insurance on it, or
Right.
we probably wouldn't be able to sell it, or our sale price, at the time, he thought, I think that's kind of low.
Yeah.
And looking back, he's like, that would have been a huge factor
Yep.
in selling that house, that cabin now on acreage.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's just anecdotal, but it is a factor, and he's not plugged into the real estate pipeline, so it's not like, so when someone who's outside of it says, "Hey, that's a big deal,"
Yeah.
it's a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah. And insurance still continues to be a big challenge in the market right now. It's, California is trying to get more proactive, but again, it's one of those things where, a lot of the problems were caused by these policies, and now we have to live with the aftermath of that and try to fix it.
Yeah, I was watching a podcast the other day, Rick Caruso on the All In podcast, and he's a big-time developer down in Los Angeles. I think he might have ran for mayor or something, or he's got politics in his blood. But they were talking about the Palisades fire and how little had been done, and they were asking why, and he said it's just there's so much red tape, that there's so many regulations that they can't rebuild.
Yeah, it's if you look at a bigger picture, there was an article that came out in the LA Times that was talking about this just recently, actually, and the Napa fires. I think it's like 75 or 80% of those homes have been rebuilt. But that was like, I think 2017.
I was going to say, it feels like it's been almost 10 years.
So before there was a major disruption in labor and cost of materials and things like that. So it does make sense that they actually got on there. Our car fire that we had here in our community, over 50% of those homes have been rebuilt. But we are still missing a big chunk of those, or haven't been rebuilt. The Paradise Fire, a huge sad story of not a lot of new construction taking place. I don't remember what the percentage was, but it was less than 15%.
Oh wow!
Had been rebuilt out of that. And then you have the Palisades right now. That's just a fraction right now.
Single digit.
Yeah, dozens of permits or whatever. So I think that the biggest underlying factor is this: a lot of people don't know how to build a home. Right. So if you lost your home to a fire, it becomes your responsibility to rebuild your home. You have to make the decision. Do I want to rebuild my home? And then you have to ask yourself the question, do I have the capacity to manage the project of rebuilding that home? Or can I feel confident in hiring somebody to rebuild it for me? And then you have the economic factors of, what does it cost to replace it? How much is it going to cost to build, and those kinds of things. And so it's actually not that big of a surprise that you don't see a huge amount of those homes being rebuilt right away, because there's so many layers of complexity. I've got a real estate agent in our office, fantastic agent, lost his home in the car fire. I think he was one of the very first people in our market to rebuild right after the car fire. It took him 10 months from the day he lost his home to the day he was sitting in a recliner in his new home.
That's fast.
It was very fast. But again, the person had been involved with 150 new construction homes here in Shasta County. Okay. He knows all the players, So he's an example of, if you know what you're doing, you can get it done quickly. On the other side of that, there's, a huge amount of people that nenever do it because it's just that the task seems so daunting.
Yeah.
And that's understandable.
I think with almost 6 months of inventory, there's also not the pressure to rebuild, that if there was only like 2 months, there'd be way more pressure.
Because there'd be a lack of options
Exactly.
in the market. Yeah, that makes sense. Yep.
You know what I mean? And there'd be, the economics would be financially worth it to rebuild. And I think a lot of people are looking at it and saying, like, it's not, the investment's not there, not in this market.
Fair point. I concede.
Switching gears a little bit, you were talking before the camera started rolling about the, I think you call it the Reading public market.
Oh, yeah.
There's some stuff going on downtown.
Yeah. So for those who haven't been around Reading for a while, the downtown, it's a reason to come.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
They did a great job.
So, a lot of our clients probably don't know this, but, if we start working with a person out of the Bay Area, it's very, very common that we started talking to them about 18 months ago. And they come up to Reading. So not to get off track on this, but I want to share this point. People that move up here from the Bay Area, Sacramento, LA County, oftentimes what's happening is they're thinking about leaving where they're at, and they're exploring 4 or 5 different markets to make a decision on where they want to go, right? So they're making it based on the quality of the lifestyle they have there, maybe the economic impact that it might have, the cost of a home, those types of things all factor in. Services, hospital,
medical, things like that.
Exactly. All of those things. And so Redding, obviously, oftentimes for people in California, is one of those places that they at least look into. So when they get up here, what we typically do is we don't start with running them in and showing them homes right away. We start with, obviously, a consultation, and then we take them up to Shasta Dam. We'll take them to Whiskeytown Lake. We'll take them to the Sundial Bridge. We'll bring them, probably have lunch somewhere by the river. Now, to your question, now the Redding public market, I think, will be another one of those top 5 kind of places that we'd want to go to show somebody. It's going to be in downtown Redding. I don't remember the square footage of it, but when I walked through it the other day with the owner, it was massive. I mean, I think that it probably is 20,000 square feet or so.
Wow.
That'd be my best guess. Collection of 13 different businesses. So you've got pizza slices, high quality, top shelf kind of specialty drinks. Fall River Brewery is going to be in there. A gift store. You got a bread maker in there. You got gourmet. Hot dogs, a grocer, and there's a collection of other businesses in there, and it's all in this open space, right? And so the description that I had from them, it was amazing, was like, hey, you're going to be able to walk through this whole place, experience whatever you want to experience, and at the end, you have one tab for everything.
Oh, very cool.
Isn't that great?
Yeah, that is
Yeah,
cool.
And then there's massive patio. Ceilings were like 30, 40 feet tall. It keeps you out of the weather, both in the summer when it's really hot and also in the winter, obviously during raining and things like that. And so you're going to have this incredible experience. I mean, I'm telling you, I haven't seen anything like this, with the exception of like when I went down to Napa. Napa has like a public market also. Mm-hmm. And I would tell you, in my opinion, this is better than that.
Oh, wow.
And so I'm thinking that this is going to be a really, really quality attribute to Redding. I'm super excited about it. Obviously, I'm talking about it now, but if you get a chance, and I think it's probably, my best guess is it'll open up in mid-November sometime.
Nice. And that isn't that area that's kind of over from Cascade Theater a little bit, the part that they opened the street back up, and am I right?
That's right. Yeah. So if you know where From the Hearth is at,
yes,
it's going to be just south of that.
Okay. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
That's a great cleanup of downtown Redding. They've been doing, I can't even remember when they started that, when they said they were going to rip the roof off the old mall. And they were going to bring, I mean, it's been a while, but it's looking great. And then they have, is that housing above that? So it's like the base ground is retail and
correct.
And then above that's going to be housing.
It already is.
Yeah, yep. It already is. Do you know, like, are the numbers on those? Like, are they hitting capacity? Are they full?
Oh, they're full. Yeah, everything in downtown. Yeah, everything in downtown is full. Yeah. So, and a lot of those are lower income type of housing units. So it helps families there to be in the downtown area.
Seniors, things like that.
Yeah, everything. Yeah. And then there's going to be, there's a couple other places down there too that are not associated with lower income housing, but that's a lot of how these projects are getting funded, is that you're adding housing at a lower cost for people. And then that's how you're penciling the retail piece of it too.
Yeah, and so people don't have to commute around town. It's just it's kind of like a little commute.
That's right.
Self-contained community.
And parking really is not an issue. I mean, I think it's a 4-story parking structure over there. That's like $1 an hour. I mean, it's super reasonable, right? To park down there. So you're going to have easy parking, easy access to the public market. And all the other stores that are down there for you to enjoy. So I'm just so grateful. I mean, having you and I've been here, me for my whole life. I can't imagine. I could have never imagined it to look quite as good as it does now.
Well, that's good to hear. Yeah, I kind of live not too far from downtown, and so it's nice to see it cleaned up. You just go around and there's new buildings. Mm-hmm. It's just, I like the architecture.
Yep.
There's been a really good cleanup. It's been a slow boil.
Yeah.
You want it all done overnight, but it's we talked about this last month. I think we did, where I just remember Oakland, where it went through this transformation. Now, unfortunately, it's transformed back, but it went through this transformation where slowly businesses started to come in and clean things up. It's like pride of ownership type thing. Yep. Whenever you take a community that's mostly rentals and people start buying to live in it, all of a sudden the lawns look better. Things get painted. The downtown's got that same effect, and it's starting to bleed over into the surrounding area.
That's right.
And the medical community really invests a lot down there. They've rebuilt. It's like, I think, Shasta County Public Health.
Yeah.
And it looks way better.
Yeah.
I mean, just all the architecture and stuff, just new buildings,
yep,
new architecture, new paint, whatever. It just, there's just something about that when things get, you call it blight, when it's, when things get dilapidated,
yep,
everybody, it kind of brings everybody down. And then when they they refinish everything. It kind of brings the spirits up a little bit.
It does.
It's got to have a great impact on value.
It does. And Reading's really, the turnaround that we've had in the last 10 years has just been amazing. I mean, even Simpson University, what a great story of, a big turnaround there. There were some big hits that they were taking. There's a demographic cliff that's coming for universities all around the country.
Yeah.
Because you can see it because, you can see your 6th grade classes, 7th grade classes, 8th grade classes are getting smaller.
Yeah.
So that means then those become college students too. So, there's a lot of adjusting that has to be done in the university level. Simpson University is building a STEM building. Again, that's kind of in a collaboration with the local community. Like, okay, what do we need what do we need in our downtown community? What do we need in Reading, Shasta County, really Tehama County too, in terms of resources and services? What kind of training do these folks need so we can start tailoring some of our educational systems around that? So in full disclosure, I'm on the board of trustees at Simpson, but I can tell you that, it's a very big collaborative approach. And you could see this happening all around our community right now where, the leaders in our community are really coming together and saying, what do you need? Okay, this is what I need. And how do we build programs and infrastructure around to service those needs? Because that's how a community thrives, is by really thinking thoughtfully through what does the community need. This downtown that we're talking about, it's going to be a big deal because every community really wants to have that place that you can bring people together in an environment where you can really enjoy the entire family, and that's an example of that. What's happening out at Simpson with the growth that they're having out there, their student count now we're approached 1,000. That's fantastic. We are Shasta County's hometown university.
Yeah, no, that's really good. I remember years ago when I talked to Coach Todd Franklin, who I think is still the basketball coach.
Not anymore. Yeah.
Not anymore?
Yeah, not anymore.
Oh, wow. I really stepped into it on that one. Thanks, Josh. Thanks for the correction. But he was one of the people behind the food truck park.
Sure. Yeah, fantastic.
Renovated, because prior to them cleaning up making that was blight would have been the right word. So it's anything. It's a rising tide floats all boats.
Yes.
And so anybody that's doing stuff to help build the community, bring value to the community, it flows.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So I'm glad to hear it. Before we close out this podcast, is there anything that we didn't cover that you'd like to talk about for October?
I don't think so. I think that, for all of us going into this fourth quarter, I think a lot of the biggest questions we're getting from people right now is just around, where's the market at? We've talked about that in terms of pricing anticipation. Expect a little bit of a slowdown going into the winter months. But if I could tell you this, the market is healthy. The fundamentals are healthy. We don't see any, concerns that are looming in the or in the background that are a major concern. Somebody did bring up to me the other day, they said, it sounds like there might be some more short sales or foreclosures on the horizon. And I do agree there are some of those that are out there. The best math that I can do on it with what's publicly known, those kind of things that are being reported, is that even if all those came to the market in the course of a year, it would only just actually help the market by providing supply. It would be really sad for those who lose their homes, but it would be a benefit for those who are looking for homes. So I just don't see it being a major drag on our housing market.
Yeah, the numbers are just too small.
They're just too small. So if anybody that's watching this was concerned about that, bring that up. But I think that as we go into next year, what I'm excited about is I do think interest rates are going to continue to come down some more. I think that's going to allow for more buyer participation. We already have some wage growth. There'll probably be some stability in the economy going forward after all these changes in tax policy and stuff like that get ironed out. And then once that's done, I think next year, I'm expecting that we're going to see some pretty big gains in terms of market growth.
Oh, good. Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
And so that really emphasizes the marry the home and date the interest rate.
Right.
Because when those interest rates come down and when that market grows, if you're waiting because you think the market is coming down, to me, the market coming down 1 or 2 or even 3% is you're trying to time it too perfect.
Right.
I don't see that happening. And obviously it depends on what segment you're talking about. The $900,000 home and the $400,000 home are two very different markets.
Exactly.
Very different things. Well, thanks, Josh. I appreciate your time, and I guess I'll see you in November.
Sounds great. Thanks so much.
Have a good one.
You too.
If you're enjoying the All Things Real Estate podcast, please feel free to subscribe, rate, and leave a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. That helps others find the show, and we really appreciate it. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next episode.